Learn Excel from Mr. Excel Podcast, episode 2335. Create an exponential growth curve. Hey, welcome back to the Mr. Excel Netcast. I'm Bill Gill, and today's question sent in by Brandon. And I love this one because it gave me a chance to use a function, frankly, I've never really used before. Brandon has a project that's going to last 10 weeks. That's 70 days. It's going to grow exponentially, he says, and it has to total 600,000 at the end. How can I create a curve that looks like this, that the total of those 70 points is 600,000? I'm like, whoa, no idea. So now, this solution requires dynamic arrays, which means you have Microsoft 365, and you have the functions like sequence, sort, filter, and so on. If you don't, you can do it, but it's going to require array formulas. That's going to have to be a story for another day. So right here, we say equals sequence of 70. So 10 weeks times 7 days. That's going to generate the numbers 1 through 70 over there. And just kind of an oddity here, the way that Brandon had this set up, he didn't have the numbers 1 through 70, he had day 1 through day 70. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that whole range, Control 1 for format cells, go to custom, and instead of general, we'll in quotes say day space quote 0, and that will give us something that looks like text over there, but in fact is really numbers. All right, so now, awesome solution. To generate an exponential growth curve, a beautiful function in Excel that I knew was there, but I've never used before, called growth, the growth function. And it turns out all we have to do is give it the numbers 1 through 70. So put a hashtag there, B14 hashtag, points to that entire array, and lo and behold, that generates an exponential curve. Brandon said, hey, it should look like this. So let's take a look here. I'll press Control asterisk to select all that data. Insert, chart, line chart, and if I shorten it up a little bit, sure enough, we have a curve that looks like Brandon's curve. The only problem that we have is it's not enough, right? So right here, if I just come here and do equal sum of that hashtag, Brandon wants 600,000, and we have 2573.1. All right, now originally I used goal seek, but Brandon's like, oh, I got a bunch of these to do. I don't want to have to do goal seek all the time. I want a formula that's just going to do it. All right, so I'm going to modify this formula, and I'm going to say times 1, or times the constant right there. And that's the number that I changed with goal seek, putting in, it turned out, I don't know, it was 130 or something like that. I said, I wonder if I can make that constant just work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say I want the equal sum of the growth of the sequence of 70, close paren, close paren, close paren, and that gives me 2573.1. And then my constant is simply going to be, this is what we want, 600,000 divided by 2573.1. And now my total comes up to 600,000. How awesome is that, right? So the magic here is this growth function. Go read Excel help about growth. It does all kinds of things where you can specify known x's, known y's, whether or not it should be a constant. But it just so happens, if you just need to generate an exponential growth curve, it is a beautiful function. So I sent this off to Brandon, and Brandon's like, that is awesome. That's what he said in the evening. Next day, we get more information from Brandon's manager. He says, well, hang on a second. Hang on. Out of these 70 days, 4 days that are holidays, we know there's not going to be any sales on those 4 days. And Brandon comes back to me and says, all right, well, how do we deal with 4 days that are holidays? All right, so here is my cheap way of doing this. Here's the 4 holidays that are going to have 0 sales. So we don't really have 70 days. We have 7 times the number of weeks minus the count A of this table over here. And oh, that's weird. It changed the format on me. Very annoying. I'll change it back to a number. So now in 66 days, we need to get to 600,000. And then what I'm going to do over here is instead of day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I kind of have to leave those there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in today's date. So I'm recording this on June 17th. And then I'm going to say equal workday.international. Workday International. Start date is the date in the cell above me. Number of days is 1. Now check this out. Number of days is 1. Now check this out. I want no weekends at all. because we're going to work all 70 days except for those 4 holidays. So I'm going to use this alternate view where we have 7 digits starting on Monday. 1 means it's a weekend, 0 means it's not a weekend. So I'm just going to specify 7 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No weekends at all. And then the thing I'm going to take advantage of here is the holiday argument. It says skip those holidays. All right. Right answer, wrong format. I changed that back to a date. Double click to copy that down. All right. And then all I need to do is make this chart be based on those dates instead of day 1 through day 66. So select the chart, on chart design, select data, come over here. We're going to edit these cells that are currently pointing to A14 to B83. Now, I'm going to click here and change this to an A. And my first inclination is to press the right arrow key. But this dialog box is one of several in Excel that are super evil, because when I press the right arrow key, it is going to start inserting cell references. And if I look down here in the lower left-hand corner, it says that we're in a mode called Enter. I'm going to press F2, and that's going to change me to Edit, and that will allow me to use the right arrow key safely to move over, type A, press Delete to get rid of that B, click OK, click OK, and just to show you that it's working, we'll change the chart type to a little column chart here, click OK, and you'll see that there are the gaps. So June 19th, and Labor Day and the 4th of July and whatever other day is in there are being left out. All right, great question from Brandon. When this came in, I was like, oh, I don't know. I have no idea. But I was really happy with the way that this growth function worked. And again, it's so much easier thanks to dynamic arrays. Microsoft 365 is definitely the way to go. If you like these tips, please, down below the video, click subscribe and ring that bell. Feel free to post any questions or comments down in the comments below. My new book, Mr. Excel 2020, Seeing Excel Clearly, has all kinds of great tips in it. Click the I in the top right-hand corner. Well, look, I want to thank Brandon for sending that question in, and I want to thank you for stopping by. We'll see you next time for another netcast from Mr. Excel.